Hello and welcome to this video on making a lemon tree bonsai that can produce fruit. Fruiting bonsai are a quaint and very pretty bonsai, but they come with some significant caveats. Even with caveats like this, it is possible to make things work and create a really stunning bonsai. Lemon trees are uniquely suited to becoming a bonsai. That is because they have a very shallow root system. The branches can be wired quite easily, but the leaves are big, so you'll need to do some work there. Flowers occur without problems and can lead to fruit. There are other benefits, including fast growth during the early stages of spring and a relatively straightforward approach to handling them. The first question for you is choosing stock. What plant do you have? Not all lemon trees are created equal. Some are thorny, while others are very pleasant and easy to work with. Try and choose the former. The next question is it a matchstick straight nursery plant? Is it a whip that is nothing more than a straight trunk that goes about 1.8 meters in the air, and no side growth whatsoever? Have they tried to take a cutting, or are you doing an air layer that is doing its best job of a drunk driver swerving all over the place? Is it something in between? These and other features will dictate your choice of style later, unless you want to put a lot more work in trying to fix them. With any lemon tree, you need to be careful when pruning the roots. It does not respond well. This is why you should try and take a small amount off first. Now you can repot it into a training pot. This will generate the wide but shallow roots that can be pruned back somewhat more easily. The lemon tree will more readily accept being pruned when it has a wide but somewhat more shallow root base, in our experience, but your mileage may vary with this. You can also, other than removing it from the bottom, take away from the edges and replant in the training pot if you so wish. This will be your first act and may take a year to complete. While it is happening, you can move on to pruning and wiring. Lemon trees will need to be pruned back aggressively when trying to grow as a bonsai. This will delay or, in some cases, prevent flowers and fruit, so keep this in mind. At this point, it is better to focus on growth, not fruit or flowers, but when you get to trying to present it as a bonsai itself, for example at exhibitions, you'll need to take steps well in advance. Cut the branches back to your main lines for your choice of style, that being left, right and back branches for formal upright and informal upright. The descending main branch come trunk with cascades and semi-cascades. You get the general idea. Develop these branches now, not only because you have it in a larger pot, therefore more opportunity for it to grow, but also you have fewer worries now. After all, this is in training, not ready for exhibition. Pruning early in the lemon tree's life will also lead to stress signals. These are good. They tell the lemon tree to put on more growth. This does not work as well as a tree gets older. When you prune, do so during spring and autumn. These are the two seasons when the lemon tree is going to be most able to compensate for and deal with the pruning. When you're looking at your tree, a sacrifice branch can be ideal as it will contribute to both nebari and trunk, remembering that the lemon tree will put on lots of growth early on. So one sacrifice branch developed early in the life of the tree can make a massive difference. Creating the bulk of the required branch structure now is better than trying to develop it later. While pruning for style and development, you will also get ramification. This is important for fruiting bonsai. In some cases, and this is particular to lemons, they do not like to put flowers on old growth. They nearly always develop flowers on new growth only, or second year growth. Wiring is the other side to this stage. Pruning branches will give you shorter branches, but it is unlikely they are in the right place. Wire solves this particular problem. Wiring now will solve the biggest problem, but it does generate its own. A young lemon tree will grow quickly, and especially new growth. This can lead to wire cutting into the branches if not monitored closely and removed in a timely manner. Since a lemon tree grows so quickly and so often, you may need to prune it regularly, which should give you plenty of opportunity to monitor the wire and ensure it's not causing damage. If it does damage a lemon tree, it can take a number of years to grow out with even minor damage. More serious damage can take a very long time. Now you need to wait. The process can take as little as 12 months for already partway there stock, or several years for completely undeveloped or perfect nursery stock that is dead straight and only has branches at the top. Throughout this time, you need to remember to fertilize regularly and keep the bonsai watered. However, with lemon trees, do not overwater. They do not like to be sitting in water, rather, just kept slightly moist. Over this year, or more, watch for new growth, dieback and similar signs of success or failure. You will want to balance growth on your tree to keep everything growing steady. After about 2 years with careful pruning and care, you should be confident that flowers and fruit are possible. It may take longer if circumstances do not work out exactly as you hoped or pruned in a way that does not necessarily work out. With your lemon tree trained and mostly styled, you can now look at transferring it into a bonsai pot. This is going to be dictated by your choice of style. Other than this, the noteworthy points are to use a free-draining but moisture-retaining soil mix. Something that's a little more organic matter rich than standard bonsai soil should work fairly well. Use an inorganic top dressing for your bonsai pot. We found that this gives the best results. Something like sand and similar will work very well. Moss can work, but you should exercise a bit of caution since moss has not a root system per se, but it can affect the way the lemon tree behaves and cause it to become sort of waterlogged. So again, mind what you do there. The other is to prune leaves. Remembering the lemon tree will have large leaves initially. You can remove most but not all leaves for a lemon tree. This should let you reduce leaf size fairly rapidly, and if the tree is growing well, you can do so multiple times throughout the growing season. This should achieve the final criteria for a bonsai. The leaves are matched, the trunk is the right size, it's styled, and it's potted in the appropriate bonsai pot. It should now be ready for display. You're only left with a few problems that are particular to this species. The most common will be aphids and mold. The bonsai lemon tree can develop mold if air does not circulate enough. This is normally resolved by regularly pruning the tree, so you should have no problems if your lemon tree is styled appropriately. Plenty of airflow and no moisture building up to cause mold. Aphids are done away with by any standard pesticide, and that's your other major concern. It is a fruiting tree, so there's a good chance that you may get aphids. Over the next year or so, you can be sure that flowers will happen. Fruit requires bees or other pollinators, so you may not see success unless you pollinate by hand. To get this growth, fertilizer will need to be used and a bit of care. You will, depending on the size of pot and the style you've gone with, and in fact the size of your bonsai lemon, need to repot anywhere between 2 and 5 years from when you first transplant it into its new bonsai pot. This is as per any standard repotting scenario, which is remove a third of the root ball, use new soil, mound it underneath, and make sure you water it thoroughly into the pot, but also make sure the pot drains freely so the bonsai doesn't get waterlogged. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it interesting, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Please post any comments, questions, or suggestions you have below